This is our own in the sense that, we had a office prior to this 5 years back. We moved from there to here, Falcon House on Main Guard Crossroad. That wasn't a building. So we wanted to make a statement to say that, this is how people should come and say, wow, this is how it can be done. So we took it upon ourselves to do something that such a building doesn't exist anywhere. A lot of people from not only India, from overseas, when they come, they get actually intimidated when they see this.
I think we too, we are slightly.
I remember the first time I think in 2023 I'd come to the museum. And so when I just heard of this museum, I thought, oh, it's just going to be a normal museum. I didn't realize it's going to be in this kind of building. The moment I entered, I'm like, wait, what is this place?
So do you have a passion for interiors as well?
No, we have, because that's our job. You have to be good. But what happened is the interiors for this office, I was solely in charge, and I know every screw that went in. Even if they had to do a screw, it had to be showed to me before it was. The design was done together with my brother, and the execution I got done myself without any interference from anyone.
So how much of an importance do you think being hands-on, like how much of an importance do you give on being hands-on?
No, importance is that without being hands-on, no, you can't succeed. Just can't succeed. So if you think you can start a restaurant and hand it over to someone to run it, will run, but then it'll collapse at some point. So if you're going to do a restaurant, make sure that you are there 365 days of the year, and make sure that, the work happens. Then you have to be hands-on. Maybe your birthday, but it's someone's anniversary. They're coming to celebrating your.
So then how do you draw the line between doing it yourself and delegating?
No, it has to be done. You also have to do, you also have to delegate, because all you can't do. But only thing is then, the strings have to be in your control.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So I have a theory. When, always in any work that you do or delegate, there will be a problem, and the problem needs to get solved. So I always tell these guys that if you have a problem, it's fine. But you do one thing. First, try and solve it yourself. If you can't, don't pick up the phone and ask. Send a message. Then send an email. Still can't be solved, let's meet. But when you come to meet, come with 3 solutions. Either I'll take one of the 3 solutions, or I'll throw them off and give you the 4th one. Because that way they are able to think for themselves.
Yes.
So how do you feel that you empower an employee? Like how do you make sure that, they're also thinking in a very entrepreneurial way?
They have been stopped, they've been handed over, sink or swim, nothing there. Sink or swim, but they have to report. We have a good reporting method, and we take stock of it every week, once a week. We meet and we take that. It's a learning, and it's jointly. The meeting happens jointly. In that, your failures he's hearing so that he won't make a mistake. His success you're hearing so that you take whatever good points is done, and he carries on with it.
So I have a question regarding, like, if you look at today, a lot of people keep complaining about government regulations. But back in the 90s and 80s, the government regulations were enormous. How did you operate it? How do you navigate?
No, the government regulations had been there, have been there, and will be there.
Yes, sir.
So I think without which you can't. You have to have a good relationship with the government machinery, right from the big carriers, the politicians, to the bureaucrats. You need to have a good relationship. And also what happens is, even the bureaucrats and politicians know more about you than you know about myself. Like, for example, before meeting me, you've done your research and you're sitting here and talking. They do more research. They know exactly what's happening. And they know more what wrong you've done than more right you've done. So what happens is that they believe that, these people won't do anything wrong. That is the kind of message they have from the subordinates and the people around them, that Sir Prestige will not do anything garbar. They follow the rules, they follow the thing. So what happens is they respect you for that. And if there is any work that we go for, it gets done because of this.
So speaking of that, like, how do you manage? Like you mentioned a point again about honesty and truthfulness. In today, there's a lot of people who keep chasing that quick buck.
It will make it. It will make the quick buck, but it's only temporary. It won't happen for long. The quick buck stops somewhere.
Yes.
And then the downfall starts. So it's very hard. It took us years to reach where we reached, and then it's a media rolling on the dais now.
So how were you at that time deciding between what is a quick buck and what is genuine in terms of projects?
No, we always did things the hard way. We didn't do the easy way at all, never. So Everything was difficult from day one, and we persisted on this course.
So what was your father's reaction again? Because you had the textile business. What was his reaction when you came up? When
He actually was quite perplexed. He couldn't believe that something can happen because they were very old school, and he was also very conservative. Okay, when we were kids, we used to get 2 pairs of shoes in a year. One was the white canvas shoes, and one was the black shoe for the school, which you had to wear otherwise as well. And they were bought not from Bata's on Commercial Street, but Bata's on the second shop on Old Powers Road. So we came up with that kind of upbringing, even though he had the money, but we were told to value things. Never got a car. We were always on a two-wheeler. Car came much later. Maybe just before I got married, I think. I bought my first car then.
So I have a series of questions for you. The first one is, would you call yourself a true Bangalore boy?
Absolutely. Born here, bred here, and also it's going to be my LRP. You know what LRP is? Last resting place.
Okay. So, sir, is that by the passion for the masala dosa comes?
Masala dosa is my favorite. Actually, South Indian food is my favorite food. In South Indian, masala dosa is there, idli, vada. These are the 3 things that I crave for. I used to do golf.
Yeah.
And then bird photography. Now we've got a group that does Sunday morning breakfast.
Okay.
Sunday morning breakfast, and we go and choose the most difficult restaurants where you need to stand outside.
Okay.
So hour or two, like Vidyarthi Bhavan. So now, if you don't want to stand outside, then you become friends with the owner. Then you get a bypass. And you get the dosa in his office.